Well, hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Unemployables podcast. Today, we've got special guest Hunter Drew joining us from the family Alpha, and we got into it, man. We talked about family. We talked about side hustles. We talked about starting a business. It's his first day of being unemployed or potentially unemployable. I guess we'll find out in a few months when we have him back on to get a progress update. But without further ado, we'll just go ahead and dive in.
Become unemployable.
Everyone, welcome to this episode of the Unemployables podcast. Today, we're sitting down with our good friend, Hunter Drew. It is his first day of being unemployable or unemployed. We'll see how it goes. Hunter, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So tell us, I guess, how it feels, what it was like the last couple of weeks of getting out of your job and where you're at.
It's pretty wild, man. I mean, what's really cool about this is you got me on day one. Like, this is the first Monday. I left my job on Friday. That was my final commute home. I left it around a normal time, so it was a normal work day.
Yeah.
So today is the first day I'm not at the job, which means if I come on 6 months from now, people can see a like organic growth of somebody from literally day one to, month 6 and see the bumps, anything like that. So,
guys, I think Hunter just invited himself back on.
I did. That's a self-invite. No, but it's awesome, man. It's one of those things. I busted my ass. It started on Reddit. Turned to the blog. I remember in 2017, I made like $20 off a PayPal account, like a PayPal donation. And I was like, God, I got it.
Took your wife out to dinner that night, didn't you?
On
made it, baby.
Dude, for real. And then 2018 comes around and it's just like, holy shit, like an explosion. And then now it's at a point where it's so consistent and it's continuing to grow that I was losing money going to work.
That's amazing.
Dude, it's wild. Like, it really is. And it's one of those things you don't take for granted. I'm always trying to put it out on Twitter and to the guys. I'm like, listen, like, without you, there's no me. And for whatever reason, the message is growing and I appreciate that. I'm going to keep on putting it out there, keep on helping the men that need it. It's awesome because it's like the more that I'm able to do, which definitely helps me personally, the more the guys around me are also like the rising tide. All these boats are freaking flying up in the air. It's awesome.
These boats aren't floating anymore. They're just
flying.
Water's down here, but all the boats are just way the fuck up here.
When did you start originally writing on Reddit?
I think it was 2011, 2012. I remember I was
on. It's been a long time.
Oh yeah, I was on the Red Pill subreddit before we had 1,000 people, and I think they have 300,000 plus right now.
That's insane. Yeah. I hopped in right around 100,000, I think, because I remember there being a post that, we just broke 100,000.
Yep.
I remember I was reading your stuff way back in the day because I think I found that subreddit like 2014, I think the fall of 2014. And I remember like reading your shit back then and being like, this guy knows, like, this guy's great. Like, there was like a handful of you guys that like, and it was definitely one of those things where like finding that subreddit like pointed me in a different direction than I was going, it was very.
Does it feel like it's been a side hustle for basically 7 years, or does it feel like it was more of a passion project that you did in your free time that turned into a side hustle that has now become potentially a full-time thing, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I just had to talk. And honestly, even now, I don't view it as like right now, it's the main hustle. It is what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point of it being a passion, I mean, that's when you feel like you have to say something, that's what drives me to do what we're doing right now. I have to talk. I have to write. If it stays in my head, it's like a pressure cooker, it's going to fucking explode. So
Yeah.
if I can pen, put the words to the paper, let people see that, when it resonates and then engage. When I left the Navy, that was the driving force. Is I lost that brotherhood. I lost that connection and camaraderie. So this fills that gap. The fraternity, as you guys know, I mean, it's real. Like, those are real bonds, those are real friendships, and we're no longer confined by proximity. So I don't even like the money comes in monthly, but it's one of those things where I'm not really thinking about that. At the same time, I'm thinking like, hey, I could totally, no matter where I go, I could sell this. I could turn that into a product. I could streamline this, system like that. Now my brain just keeps thinking like that. It's weird.
Welcome to the other side.
Yeah, it's an infection.
It's a lot more fun over here. So you started in 2011, you said, right? What
around there. I started the Family Alpha in 2015, and that's when it really was real.
Okay, yeah. When'd you leave the Navy?
2014.
Okay. So that makes sense then, because you started like right after. What I feel if the name.
What is your day job been? I don't even know what you do. I just know you worked in an office and wear
So I worked at the Naval
clothing.
War College. So basically, I worked in an office. It wasn't a cubicle job, though. It was an office job. I was admin at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. And I worked with, a lot of the military officers that were going in and out of there.
I thought you were an accountant or some weird shit. You just look like the pictures you took of yourself, or you had of yourself at work. I was like, he's like an accountant based on how miserable
Dude, I did not fit
are.
in. They told me, they're like, you were like the worst admin guy. Like I was the guy, like my job was to like do this paperwork, but they would give that to somebody else. And my job was then to like go carry all this heavy shit and move it over there and then deal with like these dudes. I was more like events management than any paperwork because I was just like full idiot.
Yeah.
You were pretty much the delegator.
I was the minion who got shit done.
Yeah, you were the soul of the team.
That's a great position to be in. Being the guy who gets shit done has put me in a lot of advantageous positions.
100%.
What hurdles do you feel like, did you face any hurdles when you were looking to quit your job beyond, I mean, there's the monetary piece of it, but were there any other hurdles that kept you from doing this sooner?
There's two things that a lot of people are going to worry about. The first is, if you're a family man, how this is going to impact the family. With this being, not everybody's going to do online. Some people have brick and mortar and they want to leave the business and build that product. A lot of you guys are doing exactly that actually. So your fears are going to be different than the online guys. Because I'm doing online content, my fear is, well, what if I leave this and, somebody pulls the plug on FOE or my Twitter or my email, like something weird, I get banned. Would my family make it? And it's one of those it's a fear. I mean, obviously that could happen, but that was just, you're building something that's not really there. That's not going to happen unless something insane happens. That's not going to happen to me. So why am I fearing this? It's just another reason for me not to jump, it's just trying to talk myself out of taking this step. And then the other one was, with the family, and we were talking about this earlier, is, all right, we've got to make sure we're looking at all expenses that we're not thinking about. Like healthcare. Healthcare went up a lot. Fortunately for me, I drive a Wrangler an hour away, daily. My gas money pays our health insurance. It's insane. So the wife and kids are covered just because I'm not using so much gas. But again, one of those things I had to think about.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you should look into now is all the tax breaks you can get by being self-employed. There's so many ridiculous things that you would never guess that you can write off now. Like what you're sitting in, you can write off all of that.
Oh yeah.
I can write off my jiu-jitsu membership because we're a jiu-jitsu company. So it's like going to the gym makes my company better. So there it is. Boom.
Yeah. As well as, I'm not exactly sure what it is for your particular state, but when I was first starting Rugged Legacy, the tax advisor I had talked to had informed me that the IRS does not expect a new business to turn a profit for the first 2 years. Three. Okay, so it's the first 3 years. So the majority of what you're going to make is going to be able to be expensed. Yeah. So pretty much anything that you have to buy, or you buy a new laptop, you have to buy,
a shed.
Yeah, a shed. All of those things.
Separate house.
Yeah, all of those things are going to be classified as business expenses, at least 90% of them for the first 3 years. Even your gas money is going to be expensible because you can use that. Well,
I keep track of all my miles I drive for work.
To go meet with a client, whatever it could be. So a lot, even the FOE meetup, that airline, because it is your business, that's going to be an expense, and you can actually expense that.
So I was going to say, and that's something for guys. So I'm going to be picking your brains for months, forever. You guys you're way ahead of me in this, new venture. But one of the things I would recommend to anybody that's doing it and that I've done is when I formed the LLC, I have a business card. So everything I buy goes on that card. So it's the easiest thing to track my expenses.
Yep.
If it's on that statement, it is a business expense.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. One of the coolest things is that a friend of mine, so he started an LLC, he's doing really well. So he started another one and made his wife a 50-50 partner in it. So anytime they go out to dinner and they talk about work, They put it on their business card because it was a business dinner.
Damn.
Or they actually took a beach trip. And so this company, they're doing it for real estate investment. So they took a trip to the beach, but while they were down there, they looked at a property like every day. And so they ended up being able to expense like their rental car, the flights to the beach, I think the place they stayed, all because they looked at potential investment properties while they were down there. I was like, man, I'm about to make my wife a partner in my LLC. We could go to the beach on a business trip.
I
think
just gotta
another
drink
part
some
of that,
coffee.
some people have a complex with that. They're like, oh, is this a write-off? If you're going to be spending the money anyways, and this is for, you're I'm buying the plane ticket to the FOE meetup regardless. Well, why would I not write it off to the business? That's the whole point of the business. If I just wanted to go see you guys, all right, cool. But it's weird when people talk about money, they get this complex like, oh, I don't need to write that off. You should want to write it all off. Why give money away? Why leave it on the table?
Absolutely. Everything you can possibly write off as a business expense, write it off. I've paid my car insurance with my business card for the simple fact that I used my car when I was handling my own shipping back and forth to the post office, back and forth to get shipping supplies. I've paid my car insurance. I've paid my gas. I've paid for lunches where my wife and I were discussing the next steps and possibly implementing a women's line with Rugged Legacy. All of that is expensible. So you're going to find that a lot of it is going to be in your favor as a self-employed person.
Now, are there different scents for the ladies' beards?
There are.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Lavender and chamomile.
For what we call the goat's beard, we will be implementing peaches. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea yet. But no, anything that you can expense, you're definitely going to want to.
And it's
So before we went live, Hunter. Oh, go on, Dan.
No, you're good. It wasn't anything valuable.
So before we went live, Hunter, we were talking about where you're at now and what comes next. So let's talk a little bit about now you've got an extra 40-ish hours a week. How are you planning on spending that? Are you going to spend 40 more hours doing exactly what you're doing? Are you going to start fleshing out something new? What are you doing? What are you looking at?
I think one of the biggest things I kind of forced upon myself, I'm a structured dude. Like I'm very free flowing, but I'm also very, very structured.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody getting out, and this is what I'm doing, is you kind of have to have a system in play. So you don't end up day drinking at the beach every day. Like you worked hard to get to the point where you could leave the job. Don't leave the job so you can just totally crash into a wall. Like go back, start, remember what the grind, remember the hard work, because when it's easy, when you're making money, you're like, this is good. This is easy. I earned this because I worked so hard then. No, all your accolades, all your awards, throw that shit in the basement. It's cool. You did achieve those things, but that got you here. That's not going to get you there. Everything I've done up to this point won't get me to where I want to go. So when it comes to where I'm going, I don't have a consistent YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I'll be definitely going into. I enjoy making the videos. I enjoy, stuff like this, creating content through image, and I can get the dogs and stuff. There's a lot I can work with, and I want to get that message going. Facebook, I'm going to start investing into Facebook and getting that going. The blog, the email list, it's just going to be a lot more of the same. When I say the same, I mean a lot more just pumping things out, letting guys know what's going on. But I'm also going to be pushing. So I have a few other projects, a few other products I want to bring to the table, and I'm wicked impressed with what you guys do. I want to build something from my head and start having a physical thing that I can give somebody. I can't hand you FOE. I can give you a coin, but that's not the same. That's not the product. That's just an extension of it.
Right.
I want to make, my thing that I can be like, look what I did. I can show my kids, hey, your dad made this. Like right now they see my dad does something online and he comes home and now he can stay home with me. That's what my kids see. They don't see me working with you guys. They don't see me talking to the guys who are going through some really, fucked up shit. They don't see me having to put in those hours, getting the reps with the men who need it. And that kind of sucks because your kids should see that. So I'm going to build something like that, and you guys are going to help me do it.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I believe I was talking to Nick when I first held my Rugged Legacy products in my hand and seeing, all of the boxes unpacked on my dining room table, and just this wave just kind of swept over me where I teared up. I had an idea for something I poured everything I had into it, and then it was, literally physically manifested into something I could hold in my hands. And once you do that, you're never going to want to do anything different than that.
Dude, when I held you guys, I don't know if you've seen the new version of 31 DTM, but the new refined paperback copy, I got the author proofs. It did the same thing. I held that. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I was like so happy. I'm like, look at this. This is look at this beautiful thing. Like, I want to like give it away and just like share with the world.
I cried the first time we had like a fully labeled and packaged bag of coffee. Just like sat there in my hand and I was like, oh my God, this is real.
But that's why you guys do this. That's why you're running this show. Why I'm super pumped to be on it. That experience of hard fucking work. But now you have the thing, and you'll always have that thing. Nobody can take that memory from you or that emotion from you. And all these other guys that want to achieve it, you guys are trying to help them do that. It's pretty kick-ass, man. And I'm glad I was able to join the ranks. And now, like I said, I'm looking forward to going forward and continuing on. I'm doubling down and tripling down on everything I'm doing.
Good.
How do you, so when I left my job, I guess almost 3 months ago, my biggest problem that I encountered, and kind of just a personal problem I have, is that I try to diversify. I try to do too much all at once. How do you hedge against that personally? Because that's the temptation, right? You're like, I've got all this free time. Like I went from giving this employer 40 hours a week last week to now I have all of that time and then some to give to my stuff. The temptation is going to be like, okay, well, I've got all these ideas. Let's get to work. How are you going to hedge against that so that you don't spread yourself too thin?
I have set, so on this paper right here, it says email and YouTube video. So I have two tangible, I have to do these two things. So I'm just going to sit. So after this, I'll probably write an email. It's 10:35 in the morning. I have done so much already. Like we had the morning brew earlier. I was talking to the wife. I hung out with the kids. We did that thing. We're doing this. Then the email list. Then I'll make a video. And it's one of those, I just have to check those two boxes. After that, it's kind of a free, like I can do my free for all. And every day I'll want to do a million things, but I have to do these three things. I have to make that video and I have to make that email. After that, maybe I'll do some Instagram, some Twitter. Maybe I'll try to push, something inside FOE or to the 31 DTM guys, just hang out with them. But the way I keep myself from going crazy doing 1,000 is making sure I do 2 to 3. And then I don't care.
Yeah. For me personally, it's one thing. And I've talked about this before. I have a list, like my to-do list on my whiteboard. And part of that to-do list is one thing each day that I have to do that is non-negotiable. And so every night before I go to bed, I'll like sit there and look at it and think, what's the most important thing I can do tomorrow? And I just have to do that one thing. And then I go to the other half of the to-do list and I'm just like, all right, what else do I need to do? This. And I think that's like super important, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 things, like where you just pick whatever it is that has to get done and you do it first thing in the morning, like absolutely non-negotiable.
Yeah. And I think with Rugged Legacy, because I'm still balancing the 9 to 5 with Rugged Legacy and the unemployables. Rugged Legacy is really freewheeling. There's nothing structured about it that I haven't already automated. So it was because I was able to automate it early that everything else just allows, I've got 100% free creative time for Rugged Legacy, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. An idea pops in my head and I want to do it. I tap a few keys on my laptop or a few keys on my phone, and it just magically appears. But once it is fully established to where I'm like, all right, screw it. I'm making stupid money now. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to move to the beach and, live in a Speedo all day.
Yeah.
It's an excellent visual. I'm glad you put that in.
Nice.
My beard isn't the only thing that's hair.
Jesus. I was going to say.
But no, once it gets to that point, I'm definitely going to have to make a work schedule where I clock into Rugged Legacy at X time. I clock out of Rugged Legacy at X time and maintain some semblance of a structure with it. Because without that, I think, the human nature of most people when they become entrepreneurs is, I quit my job. I don't have to work for the man anymore. I'll do what I want. But like our previous guest on the unemployables had said was, if you're not working, you're not making money. And you have to be working at something, whether you've got something working while you do nothing, like an automation, or you actually putting in the work. You actually have to do the work. And if you can't be disciplined enough to set that in and make that happen, you're not going to be an entrepreneur for very long.
Yeah. Hunter, here's a question for you. So now going forward, and this will take probably a couple weeks, maybe a month to figure it out. What do you think your daily schedule is going to look like? Because like for me personally, I do my best work early in the morning and then in the evenings. So like the afternoon is, if I don't schedule like something like a call or something like that, I wind up just sitting my happy ass down and like taking a nap or something, because I work hard in the morning and then in the evening. So do you have you noticed over the past couple of years of working on your job and your side hustles, like have you noticed when you do your best work, and are you going to try to integrate that now you have a little bit more time?
Because I had the 9 to 5, it prevented me from ever experiencing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I couldn't, I think we've talked about this. I couldn't stay up late until 2, 3 in the morning, blasting out, you know, some content, because I had to be up at 6. I had to be driving by 7,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I've not been able to experience that. I will say for the past 4 years, I have been running the Family Alpha. Actually, for the past 2 years, I've been running the Family Alpha, the Fraternity of Excellence, my Twitter, you know, the blog, all these things, and working my job to where my brain doesn't know what relax looks like.
Yeah.
I, like you said, sit down and take a nap. I don't know if I've ever done that. I don't have that in me. My brain does.
It's amazing.
I might, man. After this, you know, power nap or something, you're gonna totally derail like my efforts. But I mean, like, I don't know what chill is. And we were talking about that on the Redman group last night. You know, people talk about, you know, following their mission, and I want to be unemployable. Man, you got to be ready to work. Like,
yeah.
These guys who are like, oh, well, this is hard. Yeah, no shit, it's hard. I've got 2 kids. I'm also coaching on top of all these other things. And, I'm trying to maintain romantic relationship with my wife on top of all this other shit. And people are like, some people can't run a blog. How the fuck are you going to throw a fraternity in there with mandatory video chats and fucking kids and a wife and fucking coaching and trying to develop yourself and fucking reading? Like, holy shit.
And you got to stay in shape while you're doing it.
And you just do it. But you're like, fuck it. That's my life. So I don't know what it looks like yet. I think day one, like I said, bring me back on in 6 months. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And I'll be working at Home Depot because all I did was take fucking naps.
Thanks, Nick. You ruined it for everybody.
These guys give me shit because I take naps in the afternoon. But like when I don't eat breakfast because that slows me down. So like in the morning, I work for 4 or 5 hours. And then in the afternoon, like right after I eat lunch, I food coma. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just take a nap and then wake up and get back to work. And like, that works for me. But everyone's got a different thing. And especially with you, you've got a wife and 2 kids. And like, you can't really work in the evenings because you've got to spend time with them. And then you've got FOE calls Tuesday and Sunday morning. So like, your schedule is going to have to change simply because of that. Like, you kind of have to almost have to stick to that 8 to 5, but it's on your own time and it's on your own terms.
Yeah. And one of those things where, all right, cool. Like the crazy bug goes up my ass and I'm like, hey, I want to build something right now. So I work from 11 at night until 2 in the morning. All right, cool. Maybe I'll sleep until like 7 that day or 8. And, you know, maybe I'll start later if it's not a morning brew session, you know, like I don't have to check in with people. And if something randomly happens, I can work with that because it's on my terms and my schedule. That's the beauty of all this.
Yeah,
time
definitely.
management.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is it that what compels you forward? Like what ignites the fire in your gut to get up and get after it every day?
It's a really good fucking question, man. It's a combination. You know, growing up, I was a kid who did not do very well. I spent 5 years in high school, told myself I was an idiot, always beat myself up. So now I'm so afraid of becoming that guy that I refuse to even slow down because I feel like that guy will catch up to me. You know, I'm trying to outrun my former self.
Do you still talk to yourself that way? A friend of mine, he gave a talk in Italy last week and posted the video, and he talked about how he used to, like, he was kind of the same way, like didn't ever do great in school, got turned down from all the colleges he applied to, always told himself he was an idiot, and then one day he decided to try and flip that, and now he's taught himself to code. He's the CEO of a small SaaS company. Like, it's kind of flipped it on its head, just, and he attributes most of that to the change in his own self-talk. Do you still talk to yourself the same way? Like, you're an idiot, you need to get your shit together, let's fucking go? Or have you kind of switched the way that you do that?
The first day of boot camp, that all changed forever. So I went, like I said, 5 years. I was a D and F student, 5 years high school. I got my bachelor's, I got my master's. I've created this whole fucking thing, and I am unfucking stoppable. That is not something I would have said before I joined the Navy.
Now,
Interesting.
you are the sole creator of the family Alpha. You have kind of co-created, or at least my impression, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the FOE with Craig James. He's basically your, the yin to your yang on the FOE.
Yep.
Now that you're 100% unemployable, you're doing things on your own terms, do you see yourself at any point expanding the FOE or the family Alpha to where you will have to hire someone out to create something or to do something, either full-time, freelance, or part-time?
Yes.
Okay. Very
you want me to expand? To answer the question, yes. It's getting to the point where there is so much I want to do, but also so many people I want to help. I want the men that are helping me, like, hey, like, here's however much a month, you take care of that. I've got a few guys in FOE that are on a monthly payment and they help run it. I've got a graphics guy. He's on monthly, like a stipend, and he's always there for me when I need him. So I've got a few people that, and it feels so fucking good to be like, hey, I'll dump this in your account. You keep, when I need something, show up. It's really cool to give back to those who are supporting you, because those dudes show up when you had nothing. Those dudes were showing up and helping you, not you, like personally, before I could give them anything. All I do is I was basically saying, hey, can I have your services for free because I'm too poor to pay for that shit? Yeah, I'm here for you. I got you. Always, always yes. And now I'm like, hey, now I've got you. Even if you didn't do anything for me this month, here's whatever. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really awesome. A lot of people, when they hear they need to hire someone, they think they need to hire someone full time, and that's not the case. You have them on a retainer,
yep.
And that's a possibility. But hiring someone out, you can. A lot of entrepreneurs need to understand this when they're coming in, is that you can hire someone out for a project and then always just go back to them for a project. That it's not something you have to keep them on a consistent 40-hour-week payroll, because part of what you're going to learn, and today being day one, your brain still hasn't been wrapped around it, is, and maybe it is, I don't know, but time doesn't equal money. You're not selling 40 hours of your life for X amount of money. The money is going to be whatever you want it to be based off of whatever service you provide. And that's how the hiring process can be for a lot of things that you're going to end up doing.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's wild to think, it's in 10 minutes, I could make 10 grand. It's weird because, in 40 hours, I could make less than 10 grand. You're like, how does that compute? We're in a different day and age. Right now, if I send an affiliate email while we're speaking, ding, 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 the thing starts going off because I sold somebody else's whatever. They made money. I made money. And like my parents, I don't think they get it. A lot of people who are, I don't want to say older, because there's a lot of older who do get it. There are a lot of people who don't understand how this works and what it is we're doing. It's where time doesn't equal money. They think you have to do 40 hours. No, I could do 5. If it's a really, really good 5, I could make a shit ton more than the dude who's doing 40 half-assed on somebody else's terms.
Yep.
What's your long-term vision that pushed you forward? Because I feel like everyone that has a drive to succeed has something they're working towards, right? Like a vision of what they want their life to be. And the fact that it's not there, that dissonance between those two visions, or the reality and the vision, is what compels them forward. So what's your long-term vision?
So where I want to be at a point where these engagements are awesome. I want these happening in the real world, and I want me to be a part of that more often. So not just a 21 convention, not just an FOE meetup, on a schedule. Men are coming together. We're having these meetings. Is keeping everybody, mentally charged, and also to the point where I'm producing and making enough money to where my kids they're coming with me, and I'm able to bring them. We're able to go places and do things and have experiences. You know, I want to turn this over to my son. I want my son and daughter to know what I run. I want them to work in my inventory shop. I want them to be on this and handling things for me so I can go out and do things with my wife. You know, I want them to see if you work hard, you can build something. And then I want them to build their own thing, whatever it is. And then here you go. Now you run it. This is yours. Now you build this and make this whatever you want it to be, you know, and to be able to have my friends and my network and see guys and shake hands and, you know, check on their families and see how everybody's doing, you know, that's awesome. And right now, because I had the job, my time was freaking constrained, but now I can fly. I can go see you guys. We could all go meet up and have this at a table and have like a camera in each of it. Like the way I see it, man, that we're going to break electronic bonds so much more moving forward. And that's my vision, man. Like I'm looking forward to it.
That's cool. It sounds like that gets you fired up.
Yeah, I love that you said you want to pass the family alpha on to your son. Dan, with his video skills and his editing skills, we're going to all have to chip in to create a documentary called The Legacy of the Family Alpha.
You're really fucking cool.
That would be cool. Write that down. Save that for later.
I'm telling you, an FOE, like
Back pocket.
Eventually there will be, you know, a meetup where he comes with me. You know, we have a lot of amends, but like it'll be one where, hey, you're of age. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know what age, I don't know when. Definitely not the first one, but there will be a time where, you know, hey, bring the boys. They're becoming men.
That's cool.
That's going to be awesome.
So I put out on Twitter before we went live, I was like, who has questions for Hunter? And we got one from Tanny, the science guy. He says he has two.
Hi, Tammy.
If you had the chance to start rebuilding your platform under your real name initially, would you do it?
Yes. That is one of my regrets.
Okay.
I thought I was more important than I was. And I thought, if I write this, feminists are going to go to my house and burn it down. You know, I'm like, man, I'm nobody. I've never been doxxed, and my fucking face is everywhere. We think we're more important than we are. So yeah, I definitely would have gone by my real name.
So that begs the question: are you going to come out with your real name?
I'm not, but if I'm doxxed, I won't. Whatever, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it won't mean a thing to me. But I'm gonna make them work for it. You can find out who I am. I've already told all the FOE guys. Like I don't care. You know, there's nothing to hide. But,
okay, Hunter's not your real name?
No. But listen, but that's what you know me as. So there's nothing but the letters of a name that changes the message of what's going on. Like
right. And you've already have an established brand as the morning brew with Hunter Drew. You can't, this is not your real name, but you can't say, you know, morning coffee with Tina Wynette. Or, you know, it's just,
it doesn't rhyme.
I didn't know you'd be the one to dox me. Damn it.
Tina.
Sorry, Tina. But, you know, it doesn't have the same ring. You've got this established brand as Hunter Drew, the Family Alpha. Yeah. And so, you know, with, what do you have? Over 20,000 followers now, just on Twitter alone. And that's not even including Instagram, people on your email list. So people aren't going to recognize the brand. So you've branded yourself Hunter Drew.
And it was Samuel Thorpe, solid dude. He's the one who said it to me. I was like, should I just dox myself? I was like, this is ridiculous. Like this pen name, I'm feeling like a complex of inauthentic, whatever. He's like, I don't give a shit what your name is. He's like, I'm here for your message. He's like, if your fucking name could be Steve, Mike, Phil, he's like, you're Hunter. Like, what the fuck does it matter?
That's a good point. Especially as things go live. So like if you were to release any other like project, like something kind of unrelated, like that physical product you were talking about, like would you release that under your real name and try to start a new brand? Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
And then eventually do you think you'd connect those two?
It depends on what it is. The brand. So yeah, they'd probably connect, but I mean, I'm so focused on family and everything with TFA that it would really have to mesh with that. If it was a product, if it was like a beard thing, sure. But if it was like, I don't know, some random ass thing, you know, probably not.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Also, I'd want to prove it to myself that I could start over and not take the attention of Hunter and just rebuild, you know, something on my own.
Yeah, do it again. Just kind of for your own sake. So you're like, yeah, we get that. One more question from Tanai. What is something unexpected that you learned about being a parent, not including everything?
How much you overthink, you know, the importance of what you're doing. You know, when you have a kid, you're like, all right, I'm having a child. you don't ever think of like, holy shit, like when I make a decision and I tell them to do this and not that, am I setting them up for success or failure? I never thought I would question myself so much on whether I'm helping or hurting my kids. Like you would think it'd be black and white, but like even doing this, I'm like, when they see me leave and go do something, should I be investing time in them? Or am I investing too much time in them to where they're not going out and solving their own problems? Like I think I'm a well-rounded individual because of the obstacles I've faced, and my kids have a much better upbringing than I do. So I'm like, well, by them not facing those obstacles, am I doing them a disservice? And it's some weird like psychological shit. You think it's going to be very easy. This is good. This is bad, but it's not. And when you have kids, you realize the world is fucking weird. And until they're grown, you don't know if you did it right or wrong.
Wow. Yeah, that's the only thing. I actually had spoken to Ryan Mickler about this before. You don't know if you were a good parent or not until your kids are parents.
That's a really good point.
When your kids are parents and you see how they're kids is when you see whether or not the lessons you taught them or are something that they should have learned, because they're going to mimic what you did, but you're not going to see that until they have kids.
That's heavy.
Do you know how much I'm doing a disservice to my son and daughter because there's no MMA, there's no fighting, there's nothing near where I live. Like I'd have to drive an hour to go to the closest one. And I'm like, man, my kid should be in this. I'm doing it. My kid should be fighting. So I'm like, fuck. Yeah. Like it's weird. Like you're doing this mind trip. I'm like, dude, I see all these guys doing very well. I'm like, but my kids aren't in this. Now you're starting to compare. Well, that kid's in jiu-jitsu and mine isn't. And fuck, am I a bad dad? And then the other side of me is like, shut the fuck up. I'm Hunter Drew.
I will say, like, as a totally unprofessional opinion, having never been a parent,
this should be good.
From what I've seen, is like, as long as you put your kids, specifically your son, because I think men respond to challenges differently, and like I think we more so than women really, really need like some kind of competition. As long as you put your son in something like that, whether it be fighting or baseball or anything, right? It's like they're working for something greater than themselves. And as long as they've got that, you're doing something right.
Yeah, there are definitely like checkpoints along the way where you'll see your kids say thank you and please, and the other kids are being little psychos just taking stuff. You're like, all right, they're doing something right. Yeah. But it's like Jeff said, man, you don't know until they're not a serial killer that you did it right. You're like, oh, that's cool.
Pretty much. My two oldest are 19 and 20. And I see, both of them are handling life the way they should. College, one's going to school for IT and software, the other working at a big box store, on third shift, but he's holding it down, doing his own thing. And as far as I know, there's no bodies in their closets or trunks. And if that's the case, then I guess it did not that bad of a job.
Yeah, I won't lie. There's something affirming about dropping my son at daycare. And like, he's pretty like, well, number one, the teacher's like, he's the only one that cleans up after himself. And I was like, you're fucking right, he is.
Goddamn right.
Because he's not a little slob like all these other little pests. Like then one kid's over there in the corner, like just rocking the toy and shaking it and throwing stuff everywhere. And like, I'm just like, that kid needs a dad to put him in his effing place. Like it feels good to know that like, that's not my son. Yep. Like, I think I'm doing all right. Like, I know there are ways I can be doing better, but compared to these other kids, damn, we're doing okay right now.
Yeah, that's always a plus when you go to a grocery store or you're out and about at a restaurant and you see that one little kid, and you just want to strangle him because he's giving his parents so much grief. But not only do you want to strangle him, you want to go slap the crap out of his dad and tell him to man up and be a damn dad and show his kid what's acceptable and what's not. And then when someone tells you, oh, your kids are just so well behaved, damn right they are.
Like, this is how all children should behave.
Right?
Yeah. You should model your parenting style after mine.
I'm a better dad.
It's universal, mother.
Yeah. You should tell your kids to emulate mine.
My God. So before we go too far down that rabbit hole, got another one here from Cooper Jakes. He says,
Cooper.
your belief in what you do is unwavering and it comes through your soul passionately. How do you balance the fire you have inside you for helping men with being a family man successfully?
You have to understand that the real world and your family comes before, that of others. I
Help
love
yourself
helping
first.
men. I love helping the men who need it. I love writing for them. Sometimes I think I dedicate too much time to all this, but you have to put your mission. It's fucking weird, right? Because we have to put our mission first. So we're putting FOE first. We're building all these things. We're helping all these men, doing these conventions and whatnot. At the same time, you have a family. You've got to be there. You got to be involved. So what I do is I go balls out for both, and do like literally. When I leave one, I am immediately doing the other. So I'm at work and I'm doing, some FOE stuff, and then on a Periscope, and then as soon as I get out of the Jeep, I'm playing catch with my kids. Like there's no stop. You maximize every minute you can. I try to err on the side of putting the family first, but there are times where I go too far and I just like, nope, go away. I've got to do computer stuff, and I'll miss moments with them. You've got to understand that it's a push and pull, and you can't go all in on one. If I had to choose today between delete my account or lose my family, I would delete my account in a second.
Oh yeah, no question.
But when it comes to doing the job, I live this way with my family. Like my kids, when I speak to them and like even positively or negatively, I'm like, hey, like I'm all in. And everybody has to be all in all the time. And the problem is a lot of people burn out because that's not easy. I'm all in when it comes to self-care too. I'm all in when it comes to I've told you guys, like I fucking party so fucking hard, but I work so fucking hard, and you just got to do both. I mean, suck it up.
Yeah. It's not just like fire for everything you do. Like you have to have that. So if you had to tell somebody like how to develop that, like if they have problems, like really being at 100% all the time, or even 80% all the time, where they can really be present in every moment, how would you tell someone to go about like getting better at that?
I mean, start asking themselves, what's the alternative? So when you look at, it's hard to do that. Okay, don't do it. But then just don't follow that up with, well, I want my life to be better. You don't. You want it to be given to you. You don't want to work for it though.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to experience the life of, that they want more sex, they want to make more money, whatever it is in their life that they're trying to go for, well, you've got to be at 80% all the time, all in, maxing out whatever you do. I don't want to do that. Then you don't get to have that other thing. So stop saying you want it. It's that easy. If you want to be unemployable, you've got to work for it. It goes all the way back to that. You're willing to put in the reps.
Yeah. And I think you have to really focus on the journey. One of my really good friends who is my climbing partner, he climbs all the time. And he always says like the difference between him and other people when you climb a mountain is that he loves the climb. Most people love the summit, but you gotta love the climb, whatever that is, whether that's starting the side hustle, building a family, building a legacy, whatever it is, like you have to love the journey. Because if you just want the end result, like you're never going to get there, because you're going to look at the summit and you're going to be like, God, I want that so bad, but you're not going to do the thing to get there. Right? Like you have to love the climb itself. You have to love the journey of getting there.
Think about it. We talk about authenticity a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a side hustle because you see that Dan has one, you're not going to put in the reps he put in. You just want the thing because you've been told to. There are a lot of guys who, I can't work at my 9 to 5 because everybody's an entrepreneur. If you like your job, keep your job.
Yeah.
Because you'll never achieve the other thing because you don't really want it. You just think you do because somebody told you. It's like the men who are trying to be the person they think people will like instead of being the person that they are.
Yeah.
They think if I act this way, I'll win. And that's not how it works. When you are not afraid to lose people, you'll do very well. I did not do this because I'd make money off it. I was not making money for many years. This is a whole new fucking development for me. So there were nights where I would not sleep because I'd be talking to guys and I felt that they were like going to fucking blow their brains out. So I'm like, hey, I'll stay up with you. Let's do this. Not getting paid, not getting any attention, not getting any social proof. I'm a pen name. So my wife isn't able to tell people like, hey, look at all the cool things. So she gets no validation. Like nothing was working for me except I had to do it because I loved it. And then now it's paid off. Your friend likes to climb. This view is great, but I don't give a fuck about the view. I give a fuck about the climb.
Yeah.
The view is like an extra. It's a bonus. The money's a bonus. I'd be doing this for free. I have been.
Yeah. And that's and that's the thing. Like it's every step on the journey is just it's so cool. And you really like you got to appreciate every single step because it's like even no matter how hard it is, no matter how easy it is, no matter what it is, it's like you're becoming better, right? Like you're learning more about the world, about yourself, about everything else.
And
So
you won't burn out because it doesn't feel like work. You know,
right,
like,
because
that's the benefit. You're like,
you might
"Fuck,
get tired, you might need a day off here and there, but like you love what you're doing, and that's okay. And like you understand that you have to set a pace that you can maintain indefinitely, right?
100% max
Yeah.
out. Red line.
Red line all the time.
Yeah. Just totally just till it burns out.
Yeah, burn out. Don't fade away.
So something I learned back in the fall when I first started Ground Shark, and I was working. When we started, we went live in August, which was July, August, and September are probably the 3 biggest working months of the construction industry in Colorado. So I was working like 50, 60-hour weeks while I was starting this company. And I also had a girlfriend at the time and was trying to maintain a bunch of friendships and like all of this. And like, I really realized in that moment that like, for the first time in my life, every little thing I did matters, because like, if I mess up on my diet, then I'm tired. And then I don't spend quality enough time with my friends or my girlfriend or whatever, or I don't get enough done on the business, or I slack off at work. So it was like, I had to get enough sleep. I had to get the right diet. I had to get everything really in line. And have you, I'm sure you've had that moment before. And how have you kind of gone through that and really like nailed your personal life so that you can have the most possible energy to live the most life? If that makes sense. It's kind of an odd question.
No, it's good. It's just trial and error. I mean, for everybody going through it, it's going to be different. I couldn't give you a prescription. I could just tell you I experimented on myself. I found out what worked. What worked for me, my kids, my family. And that comes from not being afraid to fuck up. Yeah. I have done too much. I have gotten stressed the fuck out. I have had, the moments where I'm like, this is fucking stupid. I should just delete this whole thing and go back to being a normal dude. And then I pulled myself out. The only reason I hit that wall is because I wasn't properly sleeping or taking care of myself. I wasn't making time for the family. I was just all in all the time, with my face in the screen. So I swung the other way. And then all of a sudden growth stopped because I was 24/7 offline. All right, bring it back in. It's just fucking figure it out. And all of a sudden you dial it in. For some takes a month. For some like me, it took fucking years.
Yeah. The problem is that when we start seeing, especially people with an entrepreneurial mindset, is we start seeing growth and progress with our business, we instinctively just double down, which is a good thing because of course that propels us, even further in the direction we want to go. Yep. But when we start, there's what's that old saying? You can't do well at work and at home. Well, that's bullshit. But the problem is you start doing too well in one, it's probably, or too well too quickly in one. It's probably because you've let the pendulum swing too far. And what's going to happen is it's going to swing back all the other way unless you put a hard stop in there to make sure it stays in the middle. And that finding that balance is probably one of the biggest challenges I've had as an entrepreneur.
Here's a question for you on that note. I personally find balance in extremes. So like I would rather work 3 12-hour days and then take a day off than I would rather spend 5 8-hour days. Do you have kind of a system like that you prefer? Or is it just kind of like you like to have a set kind of workload every day?
Is that me or Jeff?
You.
Oh, no. Like I said, when I say all in all the time, every day I'm either going nuts in here. And as soon as Jackie gets here, we're probably going to go get lunch, grab a few drinks, party, maybe fucking like just chill around, the town, whatever, come back here. I'll be like, get away from me. And then I'll go back to work, like it's 100%, the thing or not the thing. Like it's a 0-1.
I guess I phrased my question wrong. So like when it comes to like the family alpha or work, like would you rather work a 12-hour day on work and then like spend a long time with your family the next day and then like back to work? Or would you rather be like, okay, 4 hours of work every single day and then like time with my family after that?
I enjoy
a little bit better.
It's better, but again, no. I like inconsistency. I'd rather, I might not go online tomorrow. I might spend the whole day with the kids doing something or going out. But you know what I'll do? I'll have this. And guess what? Take a photo, Instagram, WhatsApp. still working while I'm totally immersed in whatever it is we're going and doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, the next day I might sit in the shed for 14 hours straight.
Okay.
And then the next day, dude, so there's zero consistency. And I like that. It's like a fucking lava lamp. It's always moving around. And I just figured it out. I just make sure I balance, content creation, dealing with the men in FOE. If I don't show up for fucking 3 weeks, you guys will be like, I'm paying money, to get access and to build this thing. And you guys haven't paid the website. It just broke. You and Craig or UA, you guys have disappeared. Like, I'm jumping ship. I'm not going to be a part of this group because you don't care about it, you know? So you have to make sure you take care of your priorities and you take care of the people who are supporting you.
That makes sense. That's kind of how I am too. Well, like if a project comes on my lap, I'm like, all right, well, this is what we're doing all day today. And then sometimes it's like, I try to give myself a weekend-ish Friday and Saturday, because then that gives me Friday, I can take care of all the errands while everyone else is at work. And then Saturday I can have a day when everyone else is off work and I can actually hang out with my friends. But I prefer kind of like you, where it's like, maybe I don't do anything that day. Maybe I do everything I possibly can that day. And it just like, it changes.
So I will say, you brought up a good point that I think unemployables or people going this route should know is, and I've got to figure this out. Saturday and Sunday were my relax days. Those are the days I was barely online because I was with the family. Well, I don't have a 9 to 5, so I don't really have a weekend.
Yeah.
So Tuesday and Wednesday could be the day I do that, or Tuesday and Friday. There's no longer a Saturday. Like, I just realized I don't have a weekend anymore.
Right.
It's all fair game.
For the first couple of weeks, I didn't have a weekend because for the 8 months maybe, I was at a job and working on Ground Shark. I would go to work 9 hours a day, Monday through Friday. And then in the evenings, I would try to spend maybe 1 or 2 hours on Ground Shark, maybe a half hour before work as well. Then on Saturday and Sunday, I would try to wake up at the same time, 6, maybe 7 at the latest. And I would spend a couple hours working before my roommate woke up, before whatever I had planned to do that day. Then once I quit my job, I tried to keep that schedule on that Saturday, Sunday, but it was like, I realized pretty quickly that it was kind of pointless. Like, I didn't need that anymore. So I started working more in the mornings, Monday through Friday. Then I kind of realized that going and running errands Saturday, Sunday, it sucks. It's when everyone in Denver is at the store. I got to park 3 fucking blocks away from King Soopers so I can get my milk. So then I started trying to find the days during the week that other people aren't at the store. And it turns out Monday is when all the stay-at-home moms go to the store. So Monday is also a bad day. So then I kind of trial and error found out Friday is a great day. No one's at the store. So I handle everything Friday. So it's trial and error for sure. And it works. Oh, Dan has to. Anyway, you kind of figure out what works for you, and maybe it'll be a split weekend, maybe it'll be 2 days in a row like me, but I think that over time you kind of figure that out, what the best times for everything are. So Dan posted in the group chat, what do you wish you had known when you started out writing and starting the Family Alpha and FOE?
Yeah, that's a trick question. I mean,
It is 100%.
If I had known the things I'd known, would I have been able to build what I've built? Maybe I would have done something and it would have crashed and burned because I knew all these things. So I jumped the gun. I think part of what brought people to me is they've watched me grow. They've been a part of this evolution of Hunter.
Yeah, dude, I've been reading your stuff for like 5 years.
So you see the story though, like it's not like if I hit the ground, I was like already perfect and streamlined and I already had the payment systems. Dude, I'd be making so much more money. I've like pissed money away because I just didn't know how to capitalize. I didn't know how to bring it in. So I wish I knew how to write better. I wish I knew how to edit videos better, but I'm going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm going to have to teach myself how. I want my YouTube. Ryan Stone's a great example, and I'm a huge fan of his. His YouTube videos are incredible. He's getting better week by week. You see like the way he drops the text and he goes to the B-roll and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I've got to learn all that. I wish I knew it. I wish I could get that skill, but I wouldn't appreciate it if I did. And I think that's a lot of what we're all doing is
it's the journey, man.
Yeah, the fuck ups are huge. So what I wish I knew, nothing. I wish it played out exactly how it did.
Yeah,
So that's awesome.
I agree with that.
I kind of feel the same about Rugged Legacy. If I had known everything that I know now, then it wouldn't have been nearly as exciting as it has been since I started. I mean, Rugged Legacy, The idea of it was conceived January the 19th of 2019, you know, and
Awesome.
Jesus, just everything that I've had to cram and learn from you, from Nick, from guys in the unemployables, from everybody else on Twitter. It's the pace that you learn something when it is a necessity is insane. So yeah, same for me. I wouldn't want to know anything that I know now back then.
I will say too, on that note, that like the things that you fuck up are the most important things, you know, like when you mess something up, that's what teaches you the best. That's what teaches you the biggest lessons, the most important stuff. So what was your biggest mistake? What's the biggest thing you've absolutely just screwed the pooch on?
Holy shit.
Or if there's a couple.
Yeah, I mean, dude. So first, I named it the Family Alpha. That's corny as fuck.
Yeah, but like
doesn't
people
click at
dig
all.
it. Like sometimes you gotta be corny.
I think that the name was. I was not thinking big. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm a family man. I'm an alpha, and I'm a leader. And now I'm like, oh, I could have just been like hunterdrew.com or something. That'd be way cooler.
But like people like corny almost. Like we say we don't, but like how many like brand names out there are just kind of weird, you know? It sticks in your head.
So that's one of them. The second, I would have.
As long as you didn't name it like the family Alpha Phi. Everything and like Shopify. Everything is IFY in Startup World.
Oh yeah, like Spotify, Shopify. Yeah.
Yep.
I hate that crap.
Alphafy yourself.
So
Alpha
boring.
by
It's
yourself.
gonna be a whole new fucking product line. Alpha Phi.
Oh no.
I would not have used a pen name. That was another fuck up.
Yeah.
As we already discussed. Going back, like, man, I could have been like telling my family this. Like, if everybody had already known, maybe it'd have already left. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the fuck ups. Not really. I put out a book that was half-assed. You know, I fixed that since.
31 DTM.
Yeah, that had a bunch of typos. The font was too
Yeah.
big. I repeated my rules too many times. I mean, there was a lot of things about it that were wrong. You know, my Twitter, you know, I would have had a professional banner and shit from the beginning. I mean, there's not really any major fuck ups that I'm like, man, that like ruined my life. But
Yeah.
certain things I would have like, all right, you know what? To be more professional, I should have put the time and effort into it the first time. Rework sucks.
Oh yeah. We used to say in the construction world that reworking something costs you 5 times the amount of time because you did it wrong. You got to undo the wrong work. You got to redo the right work. And then there's like the time you spent undoing and redoing, you could have been doing 2 other things. It's like,
Believe it.
yeah, it stacks up. But I think your answer to that question is very telling because you have like a couple things that you wish you could undo. You would change your PIN name and you would change the name of the Family Alpha. But we both know that they're working for you. And it's also like you're sitting there looking at it like, God, there was nothing that you would really redo. Like all of the meat and potatoes of what you've done, you would do the same thing. You would just maybe change the name behind it, which really isn't, in the end of the day, a big deal. And like, I think a lot of people would look at some of the things you have done wrong, like maybe releasing the book with a bunch of typos and stuff. And they'd be like, God, that sucked. That like ruined that whole launch. And like, I just scrapped the whole idea and now it's gone. And it's like, but because you viewed it as a small issue, as just a bump in the road, you're here where you are now, where a lot of times, and I think this is a big thing that a lot of like people new to the entrepreneurial world or anything, like any sport, any new venture, you run into that first roadblock, even if it's something as simple as typos in a book or the wrong name, and like that stops you. And it really, really shouldn't. And that's such a mental thing that a lot of people, I think, and I've had to get over. You know, it's like,
dude, you've seen what FOE has done. Like we're literally on month 18, I believe, maybe 17.
Yeah, I think I came in like 9.
It was middle of December when we decided to do it. We launched January 1st. In 2 weeks, we built that. We put out a product that was probably 40% ready to go because we wanted something out there instead of nothing. The men joined, told us everything that was fucked up, and piece by piece, we unfucked it. Till now, it's pretty streamlined. And now we're going to be building, you know, the next evolution, which is going to be pretty fucking awesome that we can't launch yet or can't share yet. But it's going to be like, this thing is amazing. And like, we did it in 2 weeks. not even we, Craig. I was the hype man. I got eyes on. I'm like, hey, let's go, get pumped up. Rah. And Craig's like hard at work, like not sleeping for nights on end, building and coding and shit.
Yeah, and you're over there like, you go, dude. Yeah.
I was there. I was just the fuel, man. I was like a fucking IV of Red Bull. Like I just kept him motivated. Like, look, we can do this. It's gonna work. I was the power of positivity, you know. And I'm like, that's my right hand. Like, come on, Craig, you can do it. My left hand's like, come on, guys, you can join.
Yeah.
Wow, we came together and it fucking worked, man.
That's kind of like how we did the unemployables.
Dude, we launched this in like 3 days.
Well, we got the idea. We talked about it for 3 days, and then we worked for 3 days. And
why wait though? Why wait for perfection? Just do. You know it's going to work. It's already working. You've already got all these guys coming on. You know, you're helping all the men that are in there. I mean, it's why wait? Why? It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, a product is better than no product.
Oh, and for those of you who don't know, Hunter Drew is probably one of the key inspirations for the unemployables, because
that's true.
We had came to him. Well, I had been talking with Nick. Nick ended up asking Hunter all the questions that we had came up with together, and Hunter said, "No, just make it one big thing."
Yeah.
And so, you guys can all thank Hunter Drew for the unemployables.
Dude, Nick was a fucking asshole, man. He's just like, I have a few questions. I'm like, all right, cool. Like
2 hours later,
I'm just like, my God. So I'm just sitting there like on my chair.
Don't act like you didn't enjoy that conversation.
It was the best. It was the best.
You guys are so cute together.
It's adorable.
He's my +1.
Oh man.
So what's next? You know, in the next few weeks for you, like what are kind of the next big mile markers or goals that you're aiming for to really take advantage of all this newfound time you've got?
I will be dialing in the schedule. I'll be creating a new, well, I'll continue, not creating a new, I'll be continuing the morning brew. And we've got our first live meetup of FOE. That's in July, which is going to be awesome. That's, I mean, for right now, this is day one. We'll find out. I mean, I really got to dial in, you know, what my routine with regards to balancing family. Like I said, the kids, they're in school this week. They're off school for the summer next week. So now I've got to make sure they're not screaming and shit outside.
Yeah, it's gonna throw a wrench in things.
Yep, but it's good. I mean, I've made it work this far, so
right.
They can swim at the bottom of the pool for a few hours. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go well. What questions do you have for us? We've never kind of asked any of our guests that, but it might be interesting to have you ask us a few questions if you got anything, because I know you said you're going to be leaning on us for.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's quite a few. So some we can talk offline with regards to like tax and IRS, how you guys dealt with that with accountants and whatnot. Because I do want to
banking.
There we go. Exactly.
Everything's in the Cayman Islands. We're good.
Something I think would help those watching, you know, would be how have you found this to negatively have any negative impact on your relationship with your spouse because of the stress either on you or on her? And I know it's kind of fucked up and a little personal, but I mean, I think we're good because right now things are steady. You know, everything on my end is doing well. I've wondered how Jackie and I being together, she's a realtor, always home. You know, have you guys had an experience with, I guess, pros or cons with regards to becoming an entrepreneur and finding yourself, you know, hooked on the grind and not appreciating the time with the family as much?
Yes.
All right. So I like those answers.
Yeah. When I first started Rugged Legacy, my wife just did not want anything to do with it whatsoever. She was like, don't even tell me about it, because I was spending a shit ton of money. But like, I don't even want to know. Just don't tell me. And it wasn't until after we went profitable and got, you know, out of the red and into the black, my wife was okay with it. But during that period, it was just super stressful for her, because she got to the point where, of course, it's a new venture for me, and I'm always talking about it. She shut the hell up. I don't want to hear about Rugged Legacy anymore. Shut up. Keep it to yourself. It's yours. I don't give a shit about it. And, you know, it kind of put a little bit of tension on it. But, of course, I had to, you know, own it and realize, yeah, it's probably stressful as shit to her because I'm spending money that we could have, you know, paid the next couple of months worth of bills on and things like that. And I think it was just me being more aware of that. Even though it's my thing, it's still affecting my family, and it's still going to have a stress on my wife. It's still if Rugged Legacy fails, well, that's still income that my wife and kids aren't going to reap benefits from too, even though it's just my name on the company.
Yep.
So, just the typical, I got a little too wrapped up in it, and that's all I talked about. And so she was like, if you say Rugged one more time, I'm going to hit you in the head with a fucking skillet. Just one of those things. But other than that, it hasn't really been that bad.
No.
It's been interesting for me. So my wife's a night shift nurse practitioner. So she's home 4 days, like she's home every day. It's just whether or not she's awake or passed out. But that's been interesting working from home because we've had to figure out like boundaries. She's not working, and then I'm trying to hustle and get freelance income or work on ROE or whatever it is, and she'll come in and just start talking to me. I'm like, no. It's not like text me and tell me, hey, can we talk about something? But just coming in and start talking to me, that's never going to go well because it pisses me off, takes me out of my workflow.
Dude, so not to interrupt, but I said exactly that to Jackie. I was like, do not go in the shed. I was like, I am doing a podcast with the guys. Send me a text when you get home.
Yep. I've been telling her that because I've worked from home on and off for most of my career. I've had kind of the privilege of working remotely for a number of companies. And so I figured that out early on because she would just literally just come in and start talking at me. And I was like, I cannot hear you. I'm not going to hear you. There's a wall. Like, you're shunned. We're in an episode of The Office. Shunned. So we had to figure out that. But I feel like we've gotten in a little bit more of a rhythm and more of a routine than I expected actually in the last couple months. Like I got to get up, get my son to daycare, come back and just start grinding. And then, I make specific time to go to the gym and like we'll interact here and there, but like really nailing down a routine has made all the difference for us.
Yeah.
I came in like halfway through you were asking that question, Hunter, but I think I got the gist of it. When I started Ground Shark, that like ate up my time, and I lost a girlfriend over it, girl I had dated for, by the time we broke up, almost 2 years. And like, it was just a lot of it was like our kind of incompatibility long-term, but a lot of it too was just me fucking up, Yeah. So it's easy to get wrapped up in the project, and you really got to make time for the people that matter to you, or there they go.
Another question. I like having you guys in the hot seat. So how do you keep yourself from not accurate, from being a subjective when it comes to the market? An example that'll help clarify that question is when I launched the Patriarchs 31 DTM, I said 31 dudes, only fathers. We're doing a fathers only campaign. That's it. I thought I'd be flooded. I thought I'd sell it the first day. I sold out the day before it ended. So it took me what did I run that? A week long, maybe 10-day campaign. And it took me 10 days to hit 31 guys. I'm like, I thought guys would I thought fathers would be all over this. I didn't read the market right. I didn't properly, and I also didn't sell it right. It wasn't in any of my emails. It wasn't in, I wasn't really pushing on Instagram or anywhere. And I just thought if I said it, they would come, but that's not how it works. So how do you keep yourself from thinking this sale is going to be huge and then it totally flops? You're like, what did I do wrong there? What did I know what I missed. It was marketing and timing. I did too small of a window, not enough flash.
No.
Yeah.
Trial and error.
Yeah, I think it's trial and error. Like, another way to say that is just like it takes experience, man. So I came from the last job that I was at. We basically just sold info products, more or less. Like, it was a digital membership platform. We were selling to pastors, and we had a good product. We thought we had the messaging right and everything. And then we would do a launch for a new course or for the membership platform or whatever. And we would set these goals and be like, based on average industry numbers, like a 1% or 2% conversion rate seems reasonable. And then we'd convert it like 0.5%. And that like stuff like that continued to happen over and over again. So I'm in a position right now where I'm coming out of that. I'm pessimistic about sales. Like, I always am like, let's aim high, but let's project our
Expect
numbers
0.7.
Yeah.
So when
Right.
1.5 comes in, you're pumped.
Right. Like that. And that's kind of I do that personally too. Like I hope for the best, but I expect the worst. And so I feel like that I kind of reflect that from a sales perspective too. Like I really want the best to happen, and I'm going to prepare for the best and do everything in my power, but I need to expect that, I'm missing a piece of the puzzle and that I'm going to screw something up and that it's not going to do nearly as well as I hope. And I'm sure there are ways to hedge against that. Like I need to get better at sales. I need to get better at being less subjective and being more objective with copywriting and all the marketing I'm doing, because I think all those things will make a positive impact on the end result. But a lot of that just comes from trial and error and screwing things up and sucking at it for a while, at least in my opinion.
See, that's exactly what I thought. But for the people watching this, at this moment, that's what you need to hear. Like you need to understand, like you're going to mess up. I made mistakes. I just shared most recently, like 2 weeks ago, I messed up. It learned from it. You got to take that and just apply it moving forward.
Yeah. And another big thing I learned at this job was like, okay, we screwed this up. Here are all the variables and it didn't go well. All right, now let's run it again in 2, 3, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it is. And we're going to change this variable and we're going to see how that affects the outcome. And we're just going to keep doing that, however many times until we figure out, okay, we've really optimized this. And I don't like A/B testing is not always the answer. Like you can A/B test to death. And I have seen that happen, but there's also a lot to be said for isolating variables and optimizing on those. So I think it takes just a lot of trial and error with doing that and making sure you're not changing. My biggest problem was like, I would see like campaign 1 go and I'd be like, oh, well, this sucked and this sucked and this sucked, but here's what we can do to make all 3 of those better. And it's like, no. Here's what we can do to make 1 better and see how that affects the outcome. Like if you're changing 3 variables and everything gets better, you're like,
which one.
You don't know how to attribute that. Yeah. So you don't know the next time when you're doing a brand new campaign with something totally different, you don't know what variable to optimize because you did it in bulk earlier, and that's not helpful.
And on that note, you can't really control every variable. Like you might run a campaign, think, okay, well, let's change the copy on this, and then we'll try it again in like 2 months. But like maybe you didn't realize that the time of the year had a ton of impact on whether or not that worked. Right. Sure. So like maybe like you running the 31 DTM for patriarchs, like maybe just because Father's Day was coming up, that was in people's heads and they thought about it more like, like maybe I should be more worthy of Father's Day, or just some like more psychological.
Maybe it didn't work well because they were all like on their first summer vacation and we're just paying attention,
Yeah, exactly. So there's so much out there. And so and that's really why it is trial and error and experience. Cause like you might find variables that you didn't even think existed. Like you don't even have any idea what you don't know. None of us do,
Yep.
What's next? You got another question for us?
No, well, there was one, but I mean, I could do this all day and eventually we're going to have to end this. So no, like I said, I'll pick your brains, offline or in the DMs.
Yeah.
I appreciate you having me on.
I mean, I always like to ask this. If there was like one like psychological like or philosophical thing that you could leave people with that was like, this is one thing that if you keep this in mind, you will do better. Like the platitude to end all platitudes is what Dan calls it. What would that be?
It's a good question, man. I try not to deal in platitudes.
I know. It's like if someone was like, if you could give me one piece of advice to get where you
shoulders back, chest out, chin up.
Yeah, there it is. Eyes forward.
Speak from your chest.
Dude, no, it would be, I mean, the time's going to pass anyway. If you want it, earn it. I mean,
yeah.
People, they say they want this life. I deserve this. I deserve that. I deserve it. Well, why don't you have it?
Earn it.
Work for it. Earn it.
You don't deserve it.
My platitude, earn it.
Earn it. I like that.
That's good.
I like that.
On that note, Hunter, where can people find you online?
On Twitter, I am most active. It's at Hunter Drew TFA. On Instagram, it's same. And then I spend all of my free time inside the fraternityofexcellence.com.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man. We really enjoyed the conversation. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Stay in touch. We'll get you back on in 6 months and we'll see if
Sir.
you're unemployable or just unemployed.
Become unemployable.